Howdy folks, Spencer here, and today I want to take a look at the latest batch of news for STO on both PC and console. As always, chapters are listed down below. And for those of us on PC, the anniversary giveaways have now started. The first day here is 4 free ship slots, and you have from now up through Friday, January 19th at 8 a.m. Pacific time to log into the game and claim these from the promotions tab of the C store. So I'll show you where to go for that. And a quick note, I forgot to mention this in the initial recording, but make sure you're on the character you want these ship slots on. When you go through and claim them, like I'm about to show you, they are automatically going to open up. The only way that you will get them in a box version, like what happened to me, is if you're at the ship limit on that character. So again, make sure you're on the correct character, the one that you want these ship slots on, before you go through and claim them. Just open up the C store or the Zen store, go to the promotions tab, wait for it to load, and you'll see the ship slots promotional up the top there. And with all these anniversary giveaways, they are only up for a day at a time. So if you don't log in and claim them in the day that they are up, every single day if possible. Now, we don't have a full breakdown on what every day is going to have yet. In the past, Cryptic has sent out emails giving us a full list of what to expect each day for the giveaways. If they do provide a list like that in an email, I'll make sure to cover that in the news video tomorrow. And for those of you on console wondering when you're going to be getting these giveaways, remember, PC's getting their anniversary event on January 23rd, and console's getting it on March 12th. So I think about a week into March, you'll see these giveaways start up over there on console. And as some of you may have seen, the STO wiki has been down now for the past couple of days due to a DDoS attack. And per comments from Thon over on Reddit, they have been trying to contact both the hosting provider and Cloudflare, but it seems that neither provider has been very responsive. And looking at the wiki Discord, it looks like they're at a point where they're looking at setting up a new server to move the wiki over to. So no ETA, they're trying to get things sorted out as fast as possible, but there's no specific time frame on when things are going to be back up. If you want to help them out and help cover some of the server-related costs that they're bound to run into, I am going to have a link to their Ko-fi page in the description down below and also in a pinned comment. If you want to help them out, I imagine they would very much appreciate it. And heading over to the console side of things, there were a couple interesting things this week, and of course, the patch notes don't mention them. So the only thing mentioned on the patch notes was the start of the 5th and final event for the 2023 event campaign for those of you over on console. This is the Feast event, and the reward from it is the Maelstrom Trifluoride Torpedo Launcher. This is a really good torpedo, especially for those of you that don't have the legendary First Strike bundle that has the original Maelstrom. This is a very powerful torpedo to have on hand, and I would highly recommend you go through and participate in this event to not only get event campaign progress, but to also pick this torpedo up. Now, alongside the patch notes here, what was not mentioned is that over on console, you can now put any interior on any ship that you have. So you can see here on this video that the STO wiki posted, provided by Disco Dragon FTW, that on their inquiry, they can put Romulan and Klingon bridges on their ship now after the patch. This is a pretty big deal. I don't get why Cryptic doesn't mention stuff like this. Like, this is a very positive change for the game. Maybe it's not intended. Maybe that's why they haven't mentioned it. But this is a pretty big change for a lot of people, being able to put whatever interior you have on whatever ship you want. A lot of people are going to be very, very happy about that. And you would think Cryptic would be talking about it. But here we are. I think it's been like 2 or 3 days now since the patch happened for console. And there's nothing. There's no blog. There's been no statement at all that I've seen from Cryptic regarding this feature. Now, the other feature that console received is that you can now hide your UI. So if you're wanting to take a screenshot, this should make it so you are able to get a much cleaner screenshot of your ship. So it's under the standard actions window under captain commands. And if you want your UI to reappear, you just have to hold A if you're on Xbox, and I think the assumption is X if you're over on PlayStation. So for those of you on console, that's a pretty big change. I think I've seen some devs comment on this, but again, I haven't seen any commentary on the any interior on any ship. So some nice changes there. And another stealth update that console received is that alongside the strike being added in, the Borg Assimilator was also added over to console. So if you have an Infinity T6 prize pack, you can now go in and pick up the Assimilator. I imagine the Assimilator was meant to drop a few weeks out from now instead of the same day as the strike, but it seems that they did accidentally release it at the exact same time. So for those of you that were wanting that ship, you can get it much sooner than I think any of us were expecting over there. And again, if you want to learn more about that ship, I do have a full review for it, which I'll have linked down below. And aside from that, the other thing that is here for console is a 20% Lobby sale that is running from now up through the 22nd. And I think that's it for console for today. Again, some really good changes. I don't get why Cryptic isn't out there talking about these. Like, truly, this any interior on any ship, that's a pretty big deal, and I think many of you would agree. And for those of us on PC, today's patch is on the lighter side, but that is to be expected with the anniversary event dropping next week. And all that this patch is doing is putting in the correct product images for the new MUDs bundle. Again, as you guys may recall from the news video last week, this bundle had the incorrect pictures associated with it. It was giving you the correct ships when you would go through and purchase it. It was just that the pictures were still showing the prior MUDs bundle. So just a visual change, and I know I've said this in the prior videos, but I do want to clarify again with this MUDs bundle that if you purchase it and you pick the Discovery Flight Deck Carrier ship pack option, that is giving you both the Discovery, Merc Worker Constitution, and D7 on account-wide unlock. What you'll have to do is if you pick that option, you'll have to go to the Ships tab in the MUD store, and you'll have to just pick the box up again to get the other ship. So you just saw I got 2 of the Kelvin Timeline Starship boxes there, and if I wanted to get 2 of the ships from that, I would use the first box on one, the second box on another, and that's how it would work with the Discovery, Merc Worker Flight Deck Carriers as well. And for those of us on PC, with the anniversary event and the new season dropping next Tuesday, January 23rd, we have been getting a ton of blogs related to the upcoming content. So I want to go through and recap the ones that I have not yet covered. The King and Collective event I have covered in the prior news video and also at the start of the stats breakdown for the Alliance ship, so I'm going to skip covering that here. But we do now have the full stats blog for the Alliance Rex escort, and I do have a stats breakdown video done, which I'll have linked down below. But one thing that I did not know when recording the stats breakdown is that the console on the Rex does have an interaction with the wingman mechanic. So if you use this console on the Rex or on any of the Jemadar Vanguard ships that have that wingman mechanic, then the 4 escorts that this console summons in should be able to do a little bit more damage for you. But hopefully on ships that don't have the wingman mechanic, you should still be able to get a nice chunk from these pets. And if you didn't watch the stats breakdown video, just know that the ship is worth getting for the Starship trade alone. The ship and console honestly look like they're going to be perfectly fine, but the Starship trait looks like it's going to be very good for a lot of different builds because it's applying a debuff while you have Fire at Wheel, Cannon Scatter Volley, or Torpedo spread up. So debuff, of course, being very important in endgame level play, it makes this a trait that you do not want to miss out on. And alongside the 14th anniversary release, we are going to be getting the Random Elite TFO system into the game. This is going to work very similar to the normal and advanced random TFO system. The difference here, though, is that to incentivize you to play random elites, they are going to be giving an extra reward on top of the additional marks and lithium that you would typically see. And in this case, it is going to be your choice of an elite crafting material rather than one based on the type of TFO, and it will also give you a chance at getting an extra material. So essentially, for those of you trying to grind like the Isomag consoles, this is pretty big. This means that every random elite TFO you do should give you one of the fragments that you need, and you need 5 of those fragments to craft an Isomag console. So it should be a good way for you to either grind these advanced consoles for yourself, or for you to grind those materials to sell them on the exchange to get EC. So this should be a pretty nice boost for a lot of you. Again, should help you get those consoles easier, and it should also give many of you a route to grind EC. So looking forward to seeing how that plays out. I expect, though, that random elites, if you're going in fully alone with a full pug team, you might have a rough time. But if you go in with even 1 or 2 people queued up with you, you should be able to get through most of the random elites quite easily. And then we have, of course, the Wolf 359 TFO. We don't know exactly what this is going to be like yet. This blog here doesn't give us a ton of information, but what we do know is that it's going to have a similar mechanic as what you see at the Battle of the Binary Stars, in which it's going to change our ship to an era-appropriate Federation starship, and we are going to be facing a lone Borg cube intent on our destruction. They say that STO players long ago learned not to fear just a single Borg cube. How hard could one be to defeat after all? So I'm interested to see how this plays out. Do they have it set up where it's just one cube with a lot of HP? Like a couple 100 million HP or a couple billion on Elite? Or do they have it set up where there's a bunch of different hard points on it that we have to take out, and there's weird phases on it? I don't know. There's a few different ways that they could do it, but I look forward to trying it out here this Tuesday. But on the topic of Wolf 359, do keep in mind that with it being an event queue, we are likely only going to have the normal version of it for the first month of it being in the game, and we probably won't have that elite version until after the anniversary event has fully ended. So just keep that in mind. There's a very, very high chance that that's how it's going to play out, which means that for the first month that this queue is out, it probably won't be that challenging because we won't have the elite version of it. So just keep that in mind. And for those of us on PC, from now up through January 22nd, there is a bundle sale active. So this is 35% off all of the C-Store ship bundles and expansion bundles. And on the MUDs bundle side of things, this is 50% off all of the MUDs bundles with all of the prior ones returning to the C-Store. So if you've been waiting to pick up any of these bundles, now's a good time to do so. For me, I've been waiting for a sale to go in and pick up the carrier bundle and also this legendary Miranda. I wish they'd put this thing on a 50% sale, but I really want the trait from this thing to mess around with. And like I had talked about not too long ago, I also have been wanting to pick up the carrier bundle. I got the Zen for it, so here we go. MUDs Carried Away Choice Pack. Let's open this up. Again, so this one cannot be discarded. That's good. I'm going for the Gem Dread Carrier, the Tholian Jorgumo, and the Zendibri Ostrus. Accept. And there we go. I know some of you want to see what that looks like when you're going through and buying things, so that's what it looks like when you're buying the MUDs bundles, and then you can go in and reclaim them from the ships tab in the MUDs market there. And the final topic for today is that on the 10 Forge stream earlier this week, Cryptic did tease a couple of the items for the upcoming Last Generation lockbox. We don't have the full breakdown of the lockbox yet. I imagine that'll be popping up in the next day or so, but I can show you a few of the items here at least. So there's the Tractor Beam Catapult. This will create an asteroid and then use your tractor beam to catapult the asteroid at the target, and it will deal kinetic damage. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, especially with it being a tactical bridge officer ability. Next up, there's some uniforms that will most certainly end up being in the Lobby store. So expect these to have a base cost of probably around 200 Lobby. There is a ground weapon. This is the one that Worf was using in Season 3 of Picard. It's the Kurleth, and it had that phaser pistol integrated in the handle. And then there's a new Universal Console, Athen Prime Fleet Museum Beacon. This has passives on it for 7.5% cooldown reduction on all bridge officer abilities, plus 28.5 starship damage control and shield regen. And the clicky of this is a pet summon, basically. So it'll summon in a random hero ship, which could be the the Defiant, the Voyager, the Entei, the ND, the Stargazer, the Saratoga, or the Lexington, and that hero ship will stay in there for 60 seconds. So that could potentially be interesting for those of you on pet heavy builds, and if this is a console that is directly in the lockbox, this should also end up being quite affordable, because the lockbox consoles, if they're just standalone in the lockbox, usually end up being quite cheap on the exchange over time. And for the ship in the lockbox, it is the Duderstadt class Miracle Worker Science Spearhead. I'm not going to get too far into that right now, because the ship had some issues when they were showing it on stream, and there's some confusion with the starship trait on it, because the wording that they had on stream for it indicates that the starship trait could end up being a DPS loss if you slot it. So I think it's best to wait for the full blog before I talk about that any further. But that's going to be it though for today. Again, thank you to all channel members and viewers for the continued support. See you guys around.